Get some analysis now from Rami Khouri. He is a distinguished public policy fellow at the American University of Beirut and joins me live now from Boston and Massachusetts. Thank you, Rami, for being with us on the program. So what do you foresee happening over the next 24 hours in Lebanon?
We just have to wait and see how quickly they can resolve the issues that apparently they have to resolve. There's violations of the ceasefire terms on both sides, and not much has been done about them by the group led by the U.S. and France that's supposed to monitor and enforce the ceasefire. The Israelis are, as usual, taking unilateral action. They think that whatever they feel serves their security interests, they will enforce by force with military power. Hezbollah is caught in a very tricky situation because it doesn't want to rekindle the war and get more massive destruction in the south and other parts of Lebanon. And the government of Lebanon, under the new president and the new prime minister, both of whom have a lot of respect and a lot of support, they're not fully able to enforce the terms of Resolution 1701, the UN resolution that calls for Israeli and Hezbollah withdrawal from South Lebanon. So everybody is constrained by certain realities, weaknesses, pressures, but also everybody seems to want to make the ceasefire work because there's been a lot of suffering in Lebanon especially, but also in northern Israel where 60,000 Israelis have left and haven't come back yet. So we just have to wait and see if they can resolve these few technical issues that they're talking about, unless this is another ruse by the Israelis, and this is all a trick, that they're never planning to leave. They want to stay there forever, but we don't know that. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, but that's not part of the deal. Of course, as we know, there have been serious breaches of the ceasefire on the sidelines in Gaza. Hamas is saying that Israel is also breaching the truce deal there, too. Could we see Trump use his pressure, as he's done before, to make Netanyahu adhere to the terms of the agreement?
It's possible, but, we want to be careful about relying on Trump pressuring. What he's trying to do now, he announced a few hours ago, he told reporters that he wants Jordan and Egypt to take 1.5 million Palestinians from Gaza to live in Egypt and Jordan, either for a while or permanently. And he wants to clean out all of Gaza. I mean, this is not a thought-out, planned strategy that's been studied. This is just off the cuff Trump being his dramatic self. But he feels that when he wants to enforce a policy, he feels he can do it because he has enormous power as president of the United States, and he's not afraid to bully and threaten people. He did get Netanyahu to accept the ceasefire terms in Gaza when Netanyahu wanted to keep stalling and keep fighting, and Trump essentially laid down the law, and Netanyahu went along. So he can do that if he wants to, but he can also do that in the ways that hurt the Lebanese and the Palestinians and others, as well as pressuring the Israelis.
As you mentioned, hundreds of thousands of people are displaced in Lebanon. How is that on its own exacerbating the humanitarian crisis that Lebanon was grappling with even before the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah erupted?
Oh, this has been going on for a couple of decades in different aspects, but especially in the last 3 years since the collapse of the Lebanese economy. And people were slowly adjusting, but now the big hit that they took with the fighting over the last 4 or 5 months, the South Lebanon has had a lot of destruction, and of course South Beirut has had a lot of destruction as well, and this will take time and money and effort to rebuild. The government is not in a position to take care of all of these issues. They don't have the personnel, they don't have the technical knowledge anymore, they don't have the money and resources to rebuild as quickly as they could have done 4 or 5 years ago, and did do several times before. So this is one of the constraints on Hezbollah, which is if it starts fighting back against Israel to make a point that Israel has to accept the ceasefire terms, it's going to probably invite Israel to bomb all kinds of things in Lebanon, not just in the south. They'll bomb the airport, they'll bomb bridges. And this is a thing that Hezbollah wants to avoid because it'll create huge popular pressures against it, and this is a cycle that is not going to end well for anybody.
Okay, Rami Khouri, thank you so much for being with us here on TRT World. I appreciate it.
You bet.